Hi, in this, let's explore IAM users, groups, roles, and policies from AWS. So, what does IAM stand for? IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. From the naming of, IAM, Identity and Access Management, so it will help you to identify how to manage giving access to the AWS cloud platform. So what do I mean by identity and accesses? When the first person or the person who is actually owning the account, let's say it is going to be some organization, and when they are signing up for the AWS, they will be provided with a root user. So the root user will be the user credentials that will not be given to everybody, right? Once an application or something is deployed in the AWS, and if somebody wants to access it, they don't really wanted to share the same credentials to everybody. So even if it is a web service, even if it is not a cloud application, that's not how it operates. So once you have your root access, the first thing what you will be doing is you will have to create another user. So how do you create another user is what this module is all about. So IAM will allow you to create um, a user under IAM service. So let's say that I want to create a user called adev, and then I want to have a user called bdev, and then I want to have my third user called atest, and I have a manager. So I have to create four users. So one of the easiest way for me to do that would be like I will have to first create groups. So why would I wanted to create a groups, right? So groups is a kind of a feature inside the IAM service. What it does is, so when I wanted to create um, a developer, when I want to give developer access to my, come to my resource which is present inside the AWS, what I will be doing is I will have a group. I will give a couple of policies to the group. Or when I say policies, policies means permission. And when I want developers, I probably would want to give them some write access. I probably want to give them some execution access. I want to give them some retrieving access, and I want it, so I don't want this permission to be present for all the users. Some maybe I want a less privileged access also. So in that case, I will be creating a group called say group testers, and maybe in that I will create a new IAM user, which is going to be a test. So who what is this a manager doing? So I want another user who wants to have both the developer access and the tester access. So in that case, what will I do? I will create my IAM user. I'm going to attach them to group A and B as well. So this IAM user is going to be having access to both these things. And we have something called roles. So what is the roles, right? So when I actually log in the very first time in my AWS account, my role is actually a root user. So a role is basically it when you create. So what has been given here is IAM identity that you create in your account that has a specific permission. So your root user has by default all the permissions, right? It is more than what a permission called administrative permission, which will be, I can show that when I will give the demo in the AWS platform itself. So an IAM role has a similarity to an IAM user. The role and the users are both AWS identities with permission policies that determine what the identity can control and cannot do. So when you create a role, right? So the it's not that different from creating a group, but you would not want to create a role very often. So when you create a role, you probably would want to do something like a POC kind of proof. So for example, if some new organization is going to sign up and they would want to have their own managed access. So during that time, they probably wanted to have some temporary role, and the temporary role will have some customized permissions or policies attached to it. So during that time, people would use roles. And you have something called AWS service role under the roles itself. So AWS service role is it is an IAM role. So that a service assumes to perform actions on your behalf. So when you say AWS service role, there could be some of the service that is already created by the AWS itself. And so when somebody wants, so when you create an IAM role, you can also choose an option where you wanted to assume that role is getting, copied into yours. And this role assumption is something, when you are trying to use some API manipulation, and when you will want to do role chaining, that time you will be using the role concept as much. But as a beginner or somebody who would wanted to explore AWS, I would say like it's not as crucial as how the groups or the other things are you going to be used. And also, an IAM administrator can create, modify, and delete a service role from within an IAM. So that's the check or the catch of using a role. And yeah, this module is all about how do you want to manage your users, right? So the kind of users that would want to be like, if you're just some developer or a tester, be you probably would not want to manage all these things. You probably would have to, figure out how to use this API and try to, handshake between the app that you're developing and how this IAM can be used for your service. So that could be one of the real use case of looking at the roles or the groups in an IAM. Next thing that has to be, visited would be like identity-based policies and resource-based policies. So what do I mean by identity-based policy and resource-based policy is, in identity-based policies, you will have an IAM user, a group, or a role. So you have an identity, right? So you will have a username, and you know that that user who belongs to some group, obviously you're identifying that person. So that could be, that would be called as identity based policies. And what are resource based policies? So resource based policies are policies that could come when you're using the services that you use. So when you say IAM, IAM itself is a service in the Amazon cloud, right? In the AWS cloud. So if that is a service, and I'm using that service to manage the access to other services. So that is point number one. The point number two is, while you create that, you have identity based policy, which means a permission, normal permission, and then you have a resource based policy. So when you're going to attach resource based policy, you don't want to give the permission to everything. You probably want to choose your particular resource, which could be your S3, it could be your EC2, which could be your SQS or VPC. You have this option to use identity based policy, or you can use resource based policy. So I have this URL here. I probably can share it, and which will show you the different types of resource-based permissions that are already available. And also, uh, obviously, you can create your IAM level or IAM access to any type of resource or the services, right? So yeah, let's see how it works in the cloud. So the first time you're going to log in as your root user. So I'm the root user, and let's say I'm logging in. You will be asked for MFA if you would have already configured. So the first time you will not be asked for an MFA. It'll be a simple sign in. So this is my first user who has the access to, everything. Is IAM service. So let's say it is here. So it helps you to manage access, giving permission to the users and things like that. And one more thing, point that has to be noted is, this is the only service which is globally available. For example, when I say globally, so if you look at these regions, this service will be available irrespective of it is available throughout all the regions. Whereas if you take some of the service, let's say EC2 or something like that, uh, when you use this EC2 service, it is specific to a region. I've logged in as a root user, and because I have my account ID, and since I'm the root user, I have the account access, organization access. Imagine I'm some IT online store or something, and then so I probably will have some organization account, and I will have some service quotas, and the way that I would be built will be different if I'm actually an organization level kind of an account. And here what do I have is, so I've already have some groups, users, and roles. So well, the first thing what I will be doing is, like, I would wanted to create an IAM user. So let's go to the user, and I'm creating a user. Creating a user will be simple. Just put some username that you wanted to do, and when I choose this, I'm going to give them the console access, and I have this option, like whether I wanted to specify a user and identity center. So identity center is like, say that you have another portal or something where you have the list of users available. That could be from a different server or some Active Directory, something like that. So what do we want to create is IAM user, which is simple. You choose here, and I don't want to go for auto-generated one. I'm going for custom password. User must create a new password. I'm unchecking in. Going to be the so I have given my username and password. So when you create a user, would you want to create a user and attach the policies directly? Would I want to attach it directly, or would I want to create a group and attach it? So I'm going for the group group one. So I already have something called test archive. I have test 11. So I'm going to go for this, since this group has access to IAM full access. Meaning, if I will put this, the user that I'm creating, if I would choose put them in this group, they will have the policy called IAM full access. But I'm giving them this policy, which is administrative access. Yeah, let's just create it. I'm putting them in the admin. You can use tags. Let's say tester. This is not a mandatory one. I'm just tagging it because it is there, and maybe it would help you when you'll have multiple modules. So I have this tester one, and I have this control place. Let's copy this, and let's open in a new window. So I have my alias set, password. So if you see, it is an IAM user that I logged in. So this is the first time I'm signing in. And what is the location it shows? So it shows East Ohio. I have full admin access, so it has showing me the access. Okay, so let's explore what are the services that I have access to. All service. Let's see if I have access to EC2. So EC2 is another service, but I'm just trying to show that I've got an access. Yeah, so this is also like another module which is inside AWS, and yeah, I pretty much have the access to, at least to land to this place instance running, and yeah, I will be able to create an EC2 instance, but that's the off topic. Let's go to IAM. So now that I'm inside IAM, and so if you look at it, I have my root user has a MFA, that's fine. So what it says is add MFA for yourself, right? So this is the multi-factor authentication. So when you wanted to add MFA device, right? So you choose your device name, and you will wanted to share your QR code to that device. So there are multiple MFA. So the ones that I'm using is Google Authenticator. So I'm choosing Authenticator app, and let's just go there. And here assume that you have your Google Authenticator in the phone, and then try to enter this, you try to enter this QR code in your app. And once you scan the QR code from this to your application, you take the secret key, and then you key in it in your Google Authenticator, and then you have to take two consecutive the codes that will appear there, and then you have to add this MFA. Once you do that, the next time when you wanted to log in this application is going to be like you will have to give that the code. So this is another user who is an IAM user. So they have password, and then will have to. So once you do that configuration, you will have to give your MFA code that is present in your Google Authenticator app. So this is a different user. So I have a root user. So I have a different, this is my IAM user, and this is my actual admin. So I will not want it to use my root user anymore. This is where the users that I was talking about. So I have a list of so many users, and I have roles here. So this is what is the role. I can create a new rule. So when I say AWS rule, so these are the rules that are given by the AWS itself, and you can create the entity for the roles. You would wanted to create a role also, and you can also attach your user to that. But the best policy would be to create a group, because you would not want to create role every time for one or two persons. And you have AWS account, web identity, and these are all the other types that it would support when you're actually creating a role, right? Like when I said, like a role could be, for example, so maybe if the business person or somebody wants to use only EC2, and maybe the person who's on the sales team could show you how to use the role, and they probably would create a role temporarily, and they wanted to assign a user to it, and probably would wanted to show a demo. So that is for roles. So I'm canceling this and continue. Let's say creating groups is also simple. So create a group, test AAA. This is my group name, and do I want to add any users? So all these users are going to be IAM users, and when I add them to group, they will have access to a particular resource based on the policies that I'm attaching. So you have a group, and I'm creating a group name here. And so if I have a group test AAA, right? This is very not a good naming practice. Let's say I have a group called team developers, right? This is going to be my name, group name. And what access would I wanted to give? I would wanted to give EC2 full access. So I want to give this developers full access to the it's another service. I wanted to give them this full access. So I am creating a group. So at the moment, the group doesn't have any. So this is team developer. It doesn't have any IAM user in it. Let's go and explore this thing. So you have this group, and you have permissions, and in the permissions are the policies that I was talking about. So you are going to add some IAM policy, IAM policies. So these are the policies that you wanted to attach, which is IAM policy. And you can also create a resource-based policy. For now, let's keep it simple and just attach some more policies. This is one of the way how you would. So I'm giving full admin. I'm giving administrative access. Yeah, I'm choosing the first three, and that's how you attach policies to the groups, and then you add your users to the groups. Uh, by doing that, you're saving the couple of repeated steps that you would not want it to do every time, like say in terms of creating a role or something. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.